everyone, and welcome to formatting a resume. This short video will take you through the steps to format and build a nice looking resume. Now, we're going to be using Google Docs, which is a word processor. Just in case some of you don't have Microsoft Office installed on your home computers, we're going to be using Google Docs, okay? And all you really need is a web browser and an internet connection. So as you can see right now, I'm on the google.com homepage, and we need to launch Google Docs. So if you look in the top right corner here, you'll see this little menu button. It looks like a series of squares. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and it's going to launch this little apps menu. So these are all the different Google products that are available out there. Now, if you do need a Gmail account in order to access these Google apps, okay, because basically they need a place to save the information you create. So you need a Gmail account, which then will enable access to all these other tools. So if you have a Gmail account already, you're all set. Okay, you're just going to use your Gmail address to get into Google Docs. If you do not have a Gmail account, that will be the first step. You'll just need to go right here to where it says Gmail, click on it, and it will walk you through the steps to create a Gmail email account. It's very simple, it's quick. Just keep in mind that as with pretty much all email providers nowadays, you do need a cell phone in order to get access. So just ask for a few personal details, and you'll just create a password and you'll be all set. And just remember, write that password down, okay? Always write it down and remember where it is in case you ever need it. So after that Gmail account is created, as I said, we can go ahead down here and we're going to click on Docs for Google Docs. All right, now it's going to bring you to this screen, which is basically the email sign-in screen. If you're already signed in, you won't see this screen. Now I am signed out, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on my account here, and I'm going to put in my password, and I'll click next. Don't save, and then it brings me to this screen right here. Okay, and if you've taken Microsoft Word in one of our computer classes, you might notice that this is somewhat similar to what we've seen in Word. We come to this page and it has a series of templates we can use, or we can create a blank document. Now, you will notice that we have some resume templates here. You can use these, but for the sake of this video and for teaching you how to do this, we're going to use a blank document and build it from scratch. And really, it's the best way to do it anyway. Sometimes if you use these templates, it's kind of hard to change things around, and you kind of get stuck and things don't format correctly, things like that. So we're just going to go ahead and build this from scratch. So just go to where it says blank right here, and let's give this one click. And here we are with our blank document. Okay, and again, looks very similar to Microsoft Word. Now, unlike Word, which uses the ribbon style for its menu options, Google Docs basically has a static or stationary toolbar here that does not change. Okay, and then it just has a series of drop-down menus up here. And again, if you've taken Word with me before, you might notice that some of these sound a little familiar, like insert, okay, format, things like this. So some of this stuff is pretty similar to what you find in Word as far as where it's located. It's fairly intuitive, and if you can use Word, you can really use Google Docs. Okay, just a few differences in terms of where these tools and features are located. All right, so before we start typing up a sample resume, the very first thing I want to do is kind of get it set up in terms of the layout. And some of these things were addressed in that initial resume video. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to adjust my font size. So for now, as I told you, you typically want to use a font between 10 and 12 points. Now right now it's set at 11, which is okay, but I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with 14, because the first thing I'm going to do is my header for my contact information. So I'm going to click on 14 here. Now in terms of the font style, as I said, Arial is okay. It's a good one. I'm going to use Times New Roman just because that's just the one I prefer. But again, Arial is just fine as well. Okay, now just a couple other things I need to do here. I want to adjust my line spacing. I want to have complete control over the spacing between things, because remember, we want some of that white space. So I'm going to adjust my line spacing. I'm going to go up to this little button right here, And if I point at it, it does say line spacing. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to change it to single. So I'm going to click on single. Okay. Now, as a default, there are no spaces between paragraphs, so there's no need to change any of that stuff. So all that is set. We just changed the line spacing to single. So single should have a check mark. Once it does, just click on that button again and close that menu. Okay. Last but not least, I want to just make sure my margins are at 1 inch. So in Google Docs, it's a little, the placement of this is, in my opinion, a little strange, but it's in the File menu. And we need to go down here to where it says Page Setup and click on Page Setup. And we'll get this little dialog box for Page Setup. And the only thing we need to look at are these margins here. And as you can see, as a default, it's already set at 1 inch. So this is perfect. Now, if at some point we need to change this, or you need to change this, this is where you'll go. You'll simply go to each box here and change the number. And remember, you don't want to go any lower than 0.5. So I'm just going to click OK, since all that is already set. All right, so now let's just get started. So I'm going to go ahead and do my header. Now, since it's my header, you can kind of do this however you want. Some people like to do it on the left alignment. Some people like to do it flush right. I'm going to center it. I like the way it looks centered. So before I start typing, I'm going to center my alignment. And it looks very similar to Word. I see these options here. These are my alignment options. I'm going to click right here where it says Center Align. And now my blinking cursor moves to the center. And remember, I'm already set with my font type and my font size, so I'm good to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in my name. And now I'm going to put in my street address. So I'm going to press the Enter key to go down to a new line. Notice it's only single spaced. That's exactly what we want. So I'm just going to put in an address here. Now I'm going to put in the city, state, zip code. So I'm going to press Enter again. And there's my city, state, and zip code. Now I'm going to put in my email address. So I'm going to press Enter, put in my email address. Now, when I press Enter again, you'll notice it's going to hyperlink that. Okay, that's okay. You can leave that. In fact, sometimes that's helpful to hiring managers, because then they don't have to go back and look for it and type it in. They can just click on it and it will launch their email. Okay, so you can leave that hyperlinked. And then the last thing I'm going to put in is my phone number. So I'm just going to go put in the area code here. Oops. Okay, so there's just it's a very sort of no frills, simple, conservative header, but it works. Okay, it's centered, it looks nice, it's professional, and it draws the reader's attention right to that, so they can see who I am and all this other and my contact information. Okay, so now I'm going to press Enter real quick, and since I'm done with this center positioning, I'm going to go ahead and go back to left alignment. So I'm going to go up here, click Left Align, and now I'm back flush left. I'm going to press Enter one more time though. I just want to have a space between the header and the next part of this resume. Okay, so now, as I said, the first thing we're going to have is either an objective statement, or what I like to use is a summary. So I'm going to use a summary. So I'm going to go ahead and type in summary here. Okay, now since this is like the title of this section, maybe I want to just draw a little more emphasis to it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in bold font. So I'm going to highlight summary, click the B up here for bold, just like it is in Word. And now it's bold. Looks good. So my blinking line is after the word summary. So now I'm going to press Enter, go down to another line. Now that B is still turned on, so I'm going to go up here and just turn it off. There we go. Now one quick thing with Google Docs, you will notice a couple things. Since this is an internet-based application, you'll see up here it says all changes saved in Drive. So unlike Word, where we have to manually save it and update it every so often, Google Docs is just going to save it for you automatically. So anytime you make a change or add something, it's going to save it without you having to do anything at all. And it's going to save it in what's called Google Drive, which is basically a separate application. It's just the sort of the big folder, or the big drive, hard drive almost, for all the stuff you're creating with these Google products. Okay, and that's accessible through that same menu we looked at before. Now another thing is we don't have to go to File, Save As, and all that stuff. You'll notice at the top left it says Untitled Document here. So all I have to do is rename this. Okay, because again, it's already saved, so I'm just going to rename it to something more specific. So I'm going to click in this box, and I'm just going to call this resume sample. And I'll press enter on my keyboard, and that will save that new name. Okay, so now everything's saved and we're all set. So let's get back here to the summary. So again, your summary is going to be it's going to sort of sum up your who you are, your title, your experience, and what you're looking for in the organization. So it's just going to be 1 or 2 sentences, and it's going to sort of address all those things. So here's just an example I came up with. Okay. Oops, excuse me. Okay, so there we have it. So basically the summary is telling you a few things. Okay, it's telling you I'm a seasoned inventory control manager. I'm not just an inventory control manager, I'm seasoned, I'm experienced. I have 3+ years experience doing these 3 things: supporting store operations, managing employees, and improving store performance. So take note, again, there's those action verbs: supporting, managing, improving. Okay, so it just sounds very powerful. Okay, and then lastly, I just added another sentence, just reminding them that I'm not just in it for myself. I'm looking to contribute these strengths to the overall success of your organization. So I want to work for you. Okay, a great thing that the hiring manager wants to hear. So that's it for a summary. Okay, pretty simple. I just summed up my experience, who I am, and what I want to do for the company. So now I'm going to move on to my next section. Since this is a traditional chronological resume, my next section is going to be my employment history. So I'm going to press enter. I'm going to press enter twice because, again, I want an empty space between each section. So now you can call this section a few different things. Some people put in employment history, maybe work experience. I like to call it relevant experience. Okay, and again, I'm going to put that in bold font. So I'm going to select my text with the click and drag, go up here, click on the B, and then I'm going to press enter after that title, and then click on the B again to turn that off. Okay, so the first thing I need under here is, of course, as I said in the first video, the name of the company, where it's located, and how long I've been working there. So the name of this company is going to be called Big Superstore, located in Anywhere, New Jersey. And let's say I've been working there from January 2017. I'm going to use a hyphen to indicate a date range. So January 2017 space hyphen space present. Because remember, if you're still working there, you're going to use present. Okay. Now I'm going to hit enter and go one line underneath. And here's where I'm going to put my job title. Okay. Now just to, here, let's type it in first. Let's say my job title, just as I indicated in that summary, it's going to be inventory control manager. Now again, maybe I just want to offset this just so the reader or the hiring manager can see exactly my job title, exactly what I was doing with that company. They can kind of home in on that. So I'm going to highlight inventory control manager, my job title, and I'm going to put that in italics. There we go. Now I'm going to press enter again so I can put in my bulleted list of duties and accomplishments. I'm going to hit enter, and again, I just need to turn off the italics. So I'm going to go up, click on the I, and turn it off. So now we want a nice bulleted list. So all we have to do, again, very similar to Word, we just need to go up to that toolbar here and look for the bulleted list icon. There is a drop-down menu for more styles. I'm just going to click right on the bulleted list button, because all I really need are simple bullets. You don't need to get carried away with different looking things. Just a simple bullet point is fine. So I'm just going to put in just a couple, just to give you an idea of where we're going here. All right, so the first one I came up with, again, I'm going to lead with an action verb. And since I'm still working there, this is going to be in the present tense. I oversee. And then once I'm done with that, I will press enter and I will automatically get a new bullet. So as you can see, I led with an action verb, oversee. So I could have simply said oversee daily tasks, okay, but of course that's just way too general. It doesn't really give doesn't give the reader any idea of exactly what those tasks are. So I want to make sure I specify those. And it also just makes me sound, much more sort of proficient in what I'm doing, okay, because I'm showing them that it's this wide range of different duties: inventory management, monitoring orders, and developing reports. Okay. I'll do one more here real quick. Okay, so here it is, enhance. There's my action verb. I enhance inventory control practices, and I tell them how, by using forecasting techniques. Okay, because again, you want to be specific. It's good to have specific language and quantifiable language. If you know exactly, how much you improve things, a percentage, or maybe how many staff members you oversee, include that specific number, because it's just good to be specific. And also, you'll notice I added one other short sentence that relates to this that says led to a decrease in overordering. So in this case, I am including also the result of my my strategy. Okay, so there's the result. Okay, results, be specific. All these things are really helpful. Now, you will notice that this is past tense, even though this is a present job. That's because this was sort of a project I completed in the past. So it's okay if you have something in the past tense here, but typically your duties will be present tense. Okay, now I'm going to press enter, and I'm just going to put in a couple more, but I'm not going to put in, I'm just going to, maybe I'll do something like coordinate with is a good one. How about collaborate with? Okay, just good action verbs, good things to lead off these duties. Okay, yours are surely to be different, but I'm just giving you an idea of where I'm going with this. And again, you want to have about 3 to 5 bullet points per job title. Okay, now let's say I'm done with this, so I'm going to press enter real quick. Now the bullet's still there. I'm going to go up here and go to that bullet button, click it, and turn it off. And you'll notice that you're back to left alignment. So now I'm going to move on to a new job. So I'm going to press the enter key to give myself an empty space to offset from the other. And let's say this was a different company. So I'm going to put in this company, just like we did before, same exact thing. Space hyphen space. Okay, so there's the new company, or excuse me, a company I used to work for, city, state, and the date range. Press enter and put it in my job title there. Now in this example, I'm actually going to do 2 job titles for one company, because this is what a lot of people run into. So I think it's good to show you how to do this. And I did address this in the first video, so I'm going to put in my the most recent title I had with that company, and then I'm going to put in parentheses the dates in which I was serving that title. And then I'll press enter, and again, just like I did up there, including the dates, I'm going to go ahead and highlight this and put it in italics. Okay, and actually let me just do it this way. So if you hit enter now, remember, just click on that I if it's still turned on and turn it off. Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of quickly go through this. Again, just to give you an idea, so I want a bulleted style list, so I'm going to go up here, click on the bullet icon, and we're back to our bullets. Okay, now this is a past job, so everything's in the past tense. So these are just some action verbs that I might use. So supervise, or how about oversaw could be something like oversaw ordering and fulfillment. Again, I'm using quantifiable language here. Because if I just say of many products, who knows what many means? Maybe it's not really that many according to someone else's definition. But if I put in 1,000 plus, if that was the real case, which it could very well be, then it really just it lets the hiring manager know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, now let's say again I had a previous job with this same company, so now I'm going to press enter. Now, in this case, first thing, I'm going to get rid of that bullet, so I'm going to click on the bullet button and get rid of it. Now, since this belongs to the same company, I'm not going to put an empty space, because I just want to, it kind of lets you know, just visually, that both of these jobs belong to one company. So now I'm just going to type in my next job title, which is going to be clerk, and then the dates I was in that particular title. And again, I'm going to highlight this, go up and click on the I for italics. I'll click down here, I'll press enter to go to the next line, and then I'll click the I again to undo that italic. And I'm back to my bulleted style list. Okay, now in this case, let's say I was promoted from clerk to shift supervisor. I definitely want to put that in there. Okay, so if this was a promotion, definitely include it as a bullet point, because that sounds, obviously it's always good to let someone know you were promoted, because it lets them know that you do quality work. So I'm just going to put promoted. The next line might be something like maintained, and then we'll have demonstrated. Okay, again, these action verbs that lead each sentence. Now, in this example, let's say maintained. I could say maintained, or I could say stock the shelves. Okay, but again, it doesn't really give you the whole picture. So something, really try to think about exactly what you do. Okay, you're being honest, but you're also just being more descriptive. So I'm going to say maintain fully stocked shelves to meet high customer demand. So I'm telling them two things with that. Not only did I keep those shelves stocked, but I'm working in a fast-paced store. Okay, with a lot of high customer demand. So I'm letting them know a lot of things in just one short sentence. That's what we're trying to do. All right, so let's say we're done with the employment portion here. I'm going to press enter, click on the bullet icon, get rid of that bullet style, and then press enter again. Give an empty space for a new section, and now I'm going to put in education. Just like before, I'm going to highlight this section title and put it in bold. I'll click enter to go down to another line, and then click on bold again to undo it. All right, so here I'm just going to put in the institution where I got my degree, and including the degree itself and the dates I was there. So I'm going to put in that information right now. Space, hyphen, space. Then on the next line, I'll put in my degree title. And when I graduated, when I earned that degree. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Okay, education is pretty simple. And again, if high school is your high school diploma is your highest level, by all means put that here. Or if it's a GED, put that here. Okay, everybody's situation is different. This is just an example. Okay, so now I'm going to press enter to go down to another section. So I want an empty space, so I'll hit enter again. And this will be called, as I addressed in the first videos, if you have any kind of certification or license, put that in there. Very important. So I'm going to call this certifications. I'll put this in bold since it's a section title. I'm highlighting it, clicking on the B up here in the toolbar, going to another line, clicking on the B again to turn that off. Put in where I earned that certificate, and then again the date. You always want to put in the date that you actually earned it. Okay, that's good to know. I'll put in one more here. And there we go. And remember, Google Docs is saving this as we go, so no need to go up and save anything. Okay, now one last thing, maybe I will add one more section here. I'm going to press enter. Now, as you can see, it's going down to a second page. So once this is done, I'm going to try shrinking my font size, and hopefully that should do the trick to get it all into one page. So I'm going to call this additional skills. I'll highlight that, put it in bold. Go down to another line, turn off the bold. If this isn't necessarily a necessary section, but it's good to have if you want to highlight a few other things that don't necessarily belong under work experience. So for example, one thing that might want to know, I could say skilled in Microsoft Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. Okay, if you have if you're if you're strong in some of these Microsoft Office applications, that's always a good thing to highlight because a lot of jobs require that. Okay, even if it's something, even if you use it at home, just go ahead and put it in there that you're skilled in it. You use it a lot. It's just good for them to know that you know how to use these applications. You don't necessarily have to be an expert, but you just know how to use them, for their basic functions. And then one more thing, I'm going to put fluent in Spanish. Okay, another thing, always good to highlight. If you're bilingual, that's a great asset. So go ahead and highlight that, and you can put it under here under additional skills. Okay. So now as you can see, we're on 2 pages, and as I said, if you have only a few lines on that second page, it's best to get it onto 1 page. Just looks more professional. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to highlight everything here except the header. Oops, sorry about that. Let me do that again. And remember, if you just point towards the top, it will scroll up automatically. I let go. And let's try, oh, look at that. I was in 14. That was my problem. Let's try going down to 12. I forgot to change that before. Silly me. And here we are. Everything is fixed. Now, let me just go down to additional skills here. I'm going to press enter to give myself an extra space because I didn't do that before. There we go. Okay, so now we're at size 12, which is great, which is a good size, and everything looks wonderful. Okay, if you want to do one more thing just to give it a little more flair, you can highlight each section title. Excuse me, go to Format, point at Paragraph Styles, go to Borders and Shading, click on a bottom border. That gives it just a little more flair. Okay, it's nothing crazy, but just it helps to separate the title from the rest of the information. So I'm going to do that for each one here. Format, Paragraph Styles, Borders and Shading, bottom border. And there we go. A great looking resume. It's all set. Okay, so again, this is all saved to your drive. Now, the last thing I would do if I were you, because it's a great, a lot of hiring managers or human resources personnel, they like to have your information, your documentation saved as PDFs, okay, instead of like a Google Doc or a Microsoft Word doc. So if you go up to File here, click on File, you'll see Download. And basically what this means is you're going to download this as a certain type of file. And from that list, I'm going to click on PDF Document. And you can either click Save File, and it will just save it to your Downloads folder. For now, I'm going to click on Open With just so I can show you what it looks like here. It's going to open this up. Okay, and here it is saved as a PDF. And I see I have a second page. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. Aha, okay, so there's still a second page here. I'm going to click on that blank page, hit backspace. Okay, now I'm back to 1 page, so let's try this again. And that does happen a lot, so it's a good thing to see that. If you have that extra page still, just go down to it, click on it, and click backspace. Let's try this again as a PDF. Open it. And there it is as a PDF. Okay, PDF is just a file type. It can't be altered. Okay, it's saved and it's very stable. That's why hiring managers like these. Okay, so there we have it. We use Google Docs to create a very simple but very good looking and effective resume. Okay, so stay tuned, and I'm going to go over how to do a cover letter in Google Docs. All right, so thanks for watching, and take care.